Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody can hear me okay? It sounds kind of staticky, is that all right? Okay, great. Okay, my name is Dr. Smith. I'm the principal of Abilene High School. I want to welcome you to our building and to our auditorium. If you haven't been in this building before, welcome. If you've not been in this auditorium, this is one of the coolest places in the city, we think. And you're sitting in the most comfortable chairs in the entire county, as far as I'm concerned. So enjoy it tonight. We're going to run you through some enrollment information. You'll have a chance to look at electives, kind of get a sense of what your students have seen today and what's going to be expected over the next week as they begin the process of choosing their classes, not only for this year, but really for the next 4 years. What we worked with students on today was trying to connect their career goals to potential classes that they might take here at the high school. We know fully well that these things can change, and you wouldn't expect an 8th grader to be fully invested in the career choice and expect that to be the same choice 4 years from now. If it is, great. If not, if students want to change up, we have plenty of electives to help them try to get closer to what their career goals might look like. So that's just a little bit of what's on tap tonight. I'm going to introduce our 2 high school counselors. We break the alphabet up into 2 halves. And so if your last name ends with the letters A through J, A through K,
As in A-OK?
Okay. Then Mrs. Weishauer will be their counselor. Last names L through Z would be Mrs. Dutt. So I'm going to hand them Mrs. Dutt. Mrs. Dutt is closest to me, and Mrs. Weishauer. Okay, here's Mrs. Weishauer.
Okay, well, we enjoyed having your kids in our building today. They were here for a couple hours this afternoon, and we talked about electives, and we had a little bit of question and answer. Mrs. Dutt walked them through the nitty-gritty of how choosing classes works. So we loved having them here. And you know, I'm a K-12 teacher. I've taught elementary, middle school, high school, music, and I like all 3 grades, but boy, 8th grade visit day, it's just such a neat picture and a reminder of how much your kids change. There's some friends back there, little Lone Rangers, some high school kids opening the door. This is our version of Longhorn leaders. And just as they answered questions and showed your kids around, just these kiddos compared to your squirrelies, and we were glad for the squirrely in the building today, but boy, things change in 4 years. You know, I'm convinced more and more the longer I'm here that high school's kind of like a crock pot. You know, you open the lid and you get yelled at because it takes an hour off of cooking time apparently. You can't peek, you can't disrupt it, and you can't really rush it. It really takes 4 years to get from 14 years old to 18 years old and ready to go out into the world. And like I say, the more cycles I see of this, the more I'm just convinced of that. So regardless of where you start, how prepared or unprepared your 8th grader is, 4.5 years from now, you're just going to be so proud as they walk across the stage in their orange robe all ready to go. Hey, do you guys want to talk at all tonight, or you just want to smile? Okay, well, come on up here in case you feel inspired. We're a little unscripted, So, just curious, how many of you have heard Mrs. Dutt and I do this in the last 4 years, other than Dr. Smith? He's very funny. A couple of you. Well, there's good news and bad news, and it's the same news. Our presentation doesn't change, and I don't know that it really ever will, because the cycle that we're about to go through doesn't really change. So this is when we bring out our shameless pictures from our high school experience. You know, the trends change, and the things that we're worried about change. I mean, when I went to high school, Nancy Reagan was telling me, you know, just say no, Julie, just say no. I'm like, okay, no cigarettes, no drugs, no alcohol. And then we went through an a season of sex ed. You know, we talked a lot about AIDS. Do you remember that? Anybody remember these seasons? Kind of back to the drug scene and then social media. I mean, we didn't grow up with phones and social media. And I would agree that each time we make a jump into the next trend, it does get more intense and a little scarier. But at the heart of your 8th grade human, it's just like when you were in high school. You know, they're going through the same things. They're going through relationships and trying to connect to people. They're trying to find out their purpose, just like you. They're going to go through some identity. They're going to try some things on. You know, you pierce it, you dye it, you wear something different. It's a lot of trying on different identities to figure out who you are. But it's the same search that we went on, just that search for purpose. So, anybody have a $100 spiral perm in the late 80s? Yeah, I was really proud of that. $100 25 years ago is a lot of money. That was a real treat that my mom gave me, I now know. And this is my sister and I with our curly hair. You know, trends and fashions, you're going to support them, you're going to tell them no, but it's that same idea that you're just trying to fit in and look good, and boy, we just looked better than we thought we did, didn't we? Well, there's Mrs. Dutt. And the kids always say, "Is that Mr. Dutt?"
No.
But his hair and his pants were looking fine. Just trying to find out who you belong with. Oh, I was going to the orthodontist one day, and somebody who was cutting class, ran into me. I think I was looking down to either shift or change my Amy Grant Grace Collection cassette tape. But either way, I got hit leaving the Garden City High School parking lot. Your kids are going to be excited to get their car, and a lot of them will have a fender bender, and that's going to happen, so just be ready. Happen to you. It's going to happen to them. What kind of car is that,
My
Mrs. Dutt?
sweet Vega.
It's good looking.
I never wrecked it, but Greg wrecked it 4 times.
Oh yeah, those are good bell bottoms. Little freedom comes with your vehicle. This is my super hot boyfriend. I did love him. His name's Jamal, and those are great pants. It is not Mr. Weishauer either. Skinny tie, anybody own a skinny leather tie? Yeah, you should have kept that. Those look good. Those are pantyhose that I have on. Kids don't know what those are, but you just want to connect to somebody, want to have a relationship. There's a little prom picture. Oh, Mrs. Dutt's graduating. That's our goal, obviously. More spiral perm, more hair. I went to Garden City High School, but my senior year, my parents moved me to the Front Range, which seems like a good deal now, but your senior year it wasn't, so I was going to stick it to the man, and I wore my buffalo tassel. So I was going to be a rebel. You know, you're just trying to claim a little bit of your own independence and live yourself. But the goal is graduation. The goal is to get your kids across the stage in 4 years, and we're going to just do all we can to make that happen. But those benchmarks and those landmarks that were so important to you, you know, that date and that car and graduation and getting your pictures taken, it's the same thing for your kids now. Costs a little more, you know, it's going to be posted on social media a little more, but it's the same. So don't think it's a foreign world. It's one that you've survived. But you also know how hard it is. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to talk about, just going to give you a whole lot of information. The kids see this presentation every year at enrollment time. It doesn't change a whole lot. Some of the classes we offer might change. We're just going to throw everything at you. And we didn't give all this to your kids. We gave them a very watered down version just for next year. But we want you to help them guide it through it. And I guess the other thing, I've got a junior and a freshman right now, and just watching their friends and my kids, I guess I just want to say to you, you are still the parents. I just want to remind you that it's okay to take their phone before they go to bed and plug it in and maybe scroll through it. It's okay to tell them they need to be home at a certain time, and it's okay to check Power School. We've got different philosophies on if it's a kid's responsibility or your responsibility. I just want to remind you as you go into this time, those freedoms and independences that they want and they need, you don't have to let the whole rope out, the first year. It's okay to let that out gradually. Just be the parent. This is a great parent, grandparent right here, and I think she would say the same thing. It's okay to put those boundaries and expectations on them. So to get the end of mind, talk to your kids a lot about where they want to go after high school, not where they want to go to college, or even what they want to be when they grow up, but how do they want to serve, other people? How do they want to leave their mark on the planet? What is it they want to do, and how does high school help them get there? We're going to encourage them. The first slide isn't about your grades or what classes you pick. It's about clubs and electives and activities and being with people, figuring out who you are. We talk a lot about saying thank you and those teachers that help you out to don't burn bridges, stay connected, because those people are really important as you go through these next 4 years. Career Cruising is a website that we use, and your kids have used it the last 2 years, where they can log in and take different inventories and look at different career sites. So we will be really career focused. That's a big thing that we talk about in high school, is where are you going and what do you need to learn and experience to get there. Okay, I'm going to do one more slide. So we talk to the kids about how their grade point average matters. If they're going to college, it equals dollars a lot of times. It's a tricky time, because for a few years in their lives where you're really graded and put at a level and a standard in a box, what we really care about is, did you learn great things, while you were here? That's, as educators, that's our heart, but we also kind of know it's a bit of a numbers game. So grades are important, and you're going to hear that from your kids. We're going to encourage them to do their best. Grades matter for entrance requirements. A lot of them will take at least one college class before they leave Abilene High School. And we talk about college. When we were in school, there was a 4-year school, and maybe we call it low-tech school. Well, now everything's a college. It's a junior college or community college or vocational college. You can't just walk out of high school and get a job as easily as you could decades ago. Almost everything requires a little bit more training than it did 20 years ago. So almost all of your kids will get some kind of extra training after high school, and those opportunities have entrance requirements. We'll talk to them about credit recovery. In high school, if you fail English, you take it again. You take it until you pass it. We don't just push you on. And there's supports on board to help you pass, but grades equal advancement. And then Salina Tech is the technical college that we pair with. We have kids that do some hands-on classes, welding, CNA classes, but they also do our math classes and our English and speech. We'll talk about that more in a little bit.
I'll just talk a little bit about financial aid. The financial aid deadlines and scholarships have moved up a lot over the years. The financial aid, the FAFSA, the free application for financial aid that seniors apply, where they're applying for federal and state aid, is now due October 1st. They can start giving out money on October 1st, so they use the previous year's tax information. So it's kind of good because you can plan a little better, depending on your circumstances, if that helps you or hurts you, but at least most of the seniors walking around now know if they're Pell eligible or if they have financial aid coming. So that's kind of a good thing. Abilene High School graduates are very fortunate. There's lots and lots of local scholarships that each senior class competes for, and that's unique. That's unique to Abilene. And each year we have a few more scholarships added, and probably a couple taken away too, but it's a very good opportunity for our students. We encourage students over their years in high school to develop preferences, to, if they have a job, to leave that bridge intact, to give that 2 weeks warning, 2 weeks notice, to develop some work or volunteer references that they can call on then for scholarships and college entrance. So think about that, brainstorm that with your students. They could be neighbors, they could be people from church, they could be teachers, counselors, principals. work, folks connected with work as long as they're not a relative. We also, of course, encourage activities, whether it's school activities or community activities. We're kind of partial to school activities because it helps them to connect with their school and have some more motivation to be here. And I would encourage you to check out the Guidance Office website. That's where we list all the local scholarships. And we go through this with all of your students, so they're going to be great at that. They're going to be able to look that up if that's a problem for you.
What's that?
We talked to them about do something. Some of you will get great grades. You know, some of your students will get great grades. Some of them, school academics are going to be hard for them. So figure out other ways to stand out. Go be a camp counselor, volunteer at the hospital, volunteer at a nursing home. Figure out ways to help yourself to stand out. Get a summer job, but we encourage them to do something productive. PSAT and National Merit scholarships are mentioned there. When your students are juniors, they have an opportunity to take the PSAT test, and that's how they can get that entry requirement into the National Merit competitions. All right, we sent pink sheets home, enrollment sheets home with the students today, along with a brown curriculum guide. And there's a lot of information in there. The pink sheets, we would like them to, between now and Friday, to sit down with you and kind of sketch out at least next year, if not 2 years, ideally 4 years, as far as prerequisites that they need to take the next thing that they want to take. And these sheets are due back to Mrs. Wilkins by Friday, March 2nd. She said she's going to go to a conference, so students can give them to the secretaries or put them in I'm trying to say that, her box, like a box outside her office. All right. And then Mrs. Weiser and I will go over to the middle school and go over these again with the students. Sometime next week, I believe. And this is what we talk about with the seniors, the juniors. We talk about if they're on track to graduate, any special qualifications, like do they want to do college sports. There's clearinghouses and things like that we have to talk with them about for that. Do they want to become a Kansas scholar? Where do they want to go to college, perhaps? And then we use all this information to give input to Dr. Smith to make a good master schedule. So ideally, after we work on them in the summer, we don't have kids lined up to Chapman wanting to change their schedule because the master schedule's been made based on those requests. Does that make sense? We have 100 students who end up wanting basic drawing and we only have 2 sections. I don't think Mr. Moyer's going to like 2 sections of 50 in basic drawing. So we can try to get it right anyway. We're pretty lucky at Abilene High School. We're a small school, but we offer a lot of opportunities for our students. We offer dual credit through Salina Tech. We used to go through Cloud County, and last year we started partnering with Salina Tech for our current classes that we offer. We offer 2 AP classes, AP American History and AP American Government. These are the dual credit classes that we offer at Abilene High School. That means they can get high school and college credit. We offer speech, we offer English Composition 1 and 2, we offer college algebra, trig, calculus, psychology, sociology, and computer applications. And the computer applications is a college upper level class. And these are the advanced placement classes that we offer. The way advanced placement works is a student would take AP American History instead of plain American History, and then they have opportunity to take a test. And if they test at a certain level, then they can take that college credit to college. There is a fee to take the test. This is what students need who are in the National Honor Society. They have to have an overall grade point average of 3.5. They have to have some evidence of leadership, and that can be classroom leadership, that can be community leadership, church leadership. They have to remember to put it down though when they're making their application. And community service, and have good character, and have taken the honors curriculum. These are the honors that students try for if they want to have academic honors at Abilene High School. These are the 3 levels of distinction, 3-4 or better, and 3-6 and 3-8. All of our valedictorians and salutatorians, first or second in the class, have met the graduation requirements, plus a 4th year of math. They've taken biology, chemistry, and physics, 2 units of 1 world language. I had the question for a freshman this year. I started with 1 language, can I switch to a different one and have 1 year of each? Sure, they can, but I'm going to encourage them to take another year of the same language that they took their sophomore year, so they have this, so they met this requirement. And then, if we have more than 1 number 1 ranked student in the class, we don't have any second place or any salutatorian. These are the 6 Regent schools in Kansas: Wichita State, Pittsburgh State, Fort Hays, K-State, KU, and Emporia. And to go to the Regent schools, you have to meet qualified admissions. And what that means is you have to have a 21 overall on your composite, on your ACT test, or be in the top 1/3 of your class. You have to take a year of chemistry or physics. And all of our students, if they tell us their junior year that they're for sure going to go to one of these schools or apply to one of these schools, we're going to encourage them, if they don't have a 22 on their math ACT, to take math their senior year. They may get in without it, but we're not going to gamble on that. Questions on that? That's new the last couple of years. So if your son or daughter is wanting to participate in NCAA or NAIA athletics, examples of NAIA athletics are like Kansas Wesleyan, Bethel, Bethany, Friends, schools like that. The NCAA schools in Kansas are the ones on the previous slide, plus Kansas Newman. But we encourage them to register with the clearinghouse by the end of their junior year. So we've been talking to them about that, if that's what they think they want to do. These are the career areas that our students have the opportunity to begin in high school. There's a Senate bill that pays the tuition for these programs while the student's still in high school. And it's wonderful opportunities. We even offer transportation. Now, I don't know if that tuition forgiveness goes away, how all that will work, but right now, this is how it is. And they can get a jump start on their career, technical school, just like our students that take concurrent classes can on a 2 or 4 year degree. Anything to add So I'm sure you all have been to the Abilene Schools website, AbileneSchools.org. And if you go to high school and then the guidance office, you have a digital copy of this enrollment guide on the website. We do have paper copies for you. We gave one to your students today. So hopefully they got it home. We told them, put it in their backpack and get it home. So hopefully they did, or will. All right, this chart is also in this booklet. This lists the graduation requirements for most students. There might be some substituted in there for our special education students, but our students have to get 26.5 credits. Seems like a lot. They can get 8 a year though. So you can see that they do have a little bit of wiggle room, but 26.5 credits to get to graduation. Year of Fine Arts, and our Fine Arts is pretty broad with what we approve for Fine Arts, and they're all listed in here as well. PE and Health, a semester of, and then another semester of some kind of PE before they graduate. World History, American History, and Government. Earth Space, Biology, and another science. 3 math credits, 4 English credits, and then some electives. Some of our classes are just semester-long classes, and some of them are year-long. So you'll want to watch that as you go through the book as well. This is what the enrollment sheet looks like. Only the freshman 8th grade class of 2022 is pink, so look for that pink sheet. And then Mrs. Weishauer put together this 9th grade sheet where it has the freshman electives broken down on one side, and then the other side it kind of breaks down your choices. So you can kind of use this as a worksheet before you transfer it to the enrollment sheet.
Okay, well, like I said, we're beginning with the end in mind. So the good news is that's almost everything you need to know to get through high school. That's a lot of the details, and we tell your kids this every year, the same thing, so that eventually the parts that they need will stick to it. Come on up here, friends. So we really pare down what we tell the kids. It's pretty narrow, so they can just focus on what they have. Should come over here. And since we have this great help here, and our Lone Rangers, are any of your kids Longhorn leaders? Okay, well, it's the same idea. They get to be on the receiving end of that next year. I just want to ask these kids a couple of questions so you can hear from them, because I know all this information is great, and you're like, okay, good, checklist. I'm sure they'll remind us about this when it's due. But I mean, a lot of what you're sitting there thinking is, oh, college? Why are we talking about sending my kid to college? I'm barely ready to send them to high school. And who's going to take care of them? So I just think it's comforting to hear out of the mouths of these babes what school's kind of like. So just a couple of questions. Introduce yourself. And your grade.
I'm Zoe Cooper, and I'm a junior. I'm Sydney Burton, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Aiden Durham, and I'm a sophomore.
Okay, so my question, I guess, would be for parents, the difference between 8th grade to 9th grade, and if you have any tips for them. The kids kind of heard this today, but what are some things that 8th graders can do to help be successful their freshman year?
Okay, so the difference between 8th grade and 9th grade, 8th grade you kind of have like your whole schedule planned for you. In 9th grade, you have a little more freedom with it to do things you want to do. But the best plan with it would be starting with with classes you know you're going to need, not just taking all the fun classes that you want at once, but kind of spreading them out throughout the 4 years, and taking classes that are going to be useful later in your education or prerequisite. I can't say it. Yeah, for like classes that I just can't. For like classes that you want to take later on in high school. And a good way to stay organized is by talking to your teachers. The teachers are really helpful and are willing to like talk with you and help you out with things. Talk to them if you're struggling in the class or if it's like coming a little harder, because you will get a little more homework, but you get used to it. It's like 6th grade to 8th grade, it's a little different. But yeah, talking to your teachers, they're really helpful with that and getting you on a good plan for your future.
I would say the biggest difference for me transitioning from middle school to high school is probably gaining independence. In middle school, they kind of, like she said, walk you through what courses you're going to take, but then you get that independence going into 9th grade and you don't really know what to do with it. And so for me, I find independence means more responsibility, and so I really keep a planner. That's what I started doing in my 9th grade year, and I'm going to encourage my brother and all his friends to do that. And you just get, if you have a job or sports you're involved in or extracurricular activities, it really helps to just write those down along with your homework increase that you're getting a little bit, and it just helps you stay on top of things. I'd also advise going in and talking to teachers before and after school and during seminar. I go in almost every day at 7:30. I always have a teacher to talk to, or if I'm missing class for a sport, I just go in and ask some questions, and the further along I get in my high school career, the harder my courses get, and so the more questions I have. And so I would just advise keeping a planner and talking to teachers.
For me, it was becoming more organized and independent. The more organized I got with my classes, the easier it became. When I first got in the 9th grade, I had no idea what to do. But once I kind of got a plan together of what I got to do, not only did my grades improve, but I also had like more free time and stuff after school.
You know, that's something that we're talking to the middle school about right now, is just how to help transition 8th graders from the current semester into high school. We talk about it being such a huge shock to go to the high school, and I don't know that it's a huge shock, but like the kids have all said, it really is ownership of what they're doing. You know, you don't have the same schedule as your friends. Your homework's not always necessarily due the same time as your friends, so you can't rely on just status quo. You've got to figure out some kind of system to get organized. So without just having them under your thumb, I would encourage them to try some things. Apps, iCal, sticky notes, I've seen that, you know, a paper planner. All right, one more question for any of you. Tell us a little bit about getting involved.
When I was a freshman, I decided just to kind of stay to myself, and I didn't really want to get involved in stuff because it was kind of scary to me, I guess, because getting involved means hanging out with upperclassmen and having to like talk to them, and that's really scary. And so I decided not to, but I kind of regretted it. Like last year I decided to just kind of jump in and get involved in a lot of things like art club, FBLA, FCCLA, Lone Rangers, and it's just made me kind of like a better person. I've learned a lot more, and I feel like it kind of opens like up stuff that actually happens. I'm not just a hermit. And it's just nice. You make a lot of new friends, and a lot of friends I didn't think I'd have, and I met Sydney through a lot of those. Sports, you meet a lot of new friends, and it's just really fun, and I encourage all of them to try everything that they can without overloading themselves.
You want to talk a little bit about how do friends change in
Okay. I guess I was in middle school, and you kind of have classes with your grade throughout it, so you get really close with your incoming class. And then I kind of thought I would stick with my friend group, I guess, throughout, I don't know, I probably thought the rest of my life or something. I was a little unrealistic with that. But then I got to high school and I started doing a little bit different things than my friends, I guess. I got involved with cross country, which not a lot of people in my friend group did. And so I got new friends throughout that, and I was a little scared going into it of upperclassmen. But I realized I could, once you get to high school, it kind of all comes together and you can be friends with anybody despite their class or their age. And so I guess overall, I guess my friend group just expanded, and I did lose some friends or not as close with them just because I don't have as many classes with them. But I also gained a whole bunch of friends through the different opportunities that the high school allows for.
When I came into freshman year, I had all my friends, just like I said, we always hanged out. But when we got different classes, it was kind of different because I didn't know like any of the upperclassmen. But like one of my classes, I had no friends in whatsoever. But I kind of started talking to a few people, and they were really nice. So by the end of the semester, I had maybe 6 new friends.
I like hearing about new friends. Because they'll say, I don't have any of my friends in my class. We'll say, make some new friends. Make some new friends. I know sometimes it's hard. And I sat down with all the freshmen from this year a few weeks ago on my end of the alphabet, and
The 2 things that they said that they loved about high school was the freedom, and they liked making new friends with upperclassmen, and they said the teachers, the people here, even if they were failing a lot of classes, they loved school here and loved the teachers. So, if they've heard the teachers are scary, it's not like that.
On most days, we have our days. We do have our days.
Not after windy snow days. We're in a pretty good mood, really. We're all rested. Took a bunch of naps last week. Does anybody have any questions for the kids, especially? Anything that?
When can we start signing them up for college courses if they're ready or academically ready?
I think I took my first college class as a sophomore, so I don't think you have to really worry about that as a freshman. I didn't, at least. But I think my first class I took was as a sophomore, so I don't think I had to worry about that until my year going into sophomore year.
For the most part, we just want the kids to be ready. You know, we're talking about their college transcript, so we just want to make sure they're prepared. For some of the classes, there are prerequisite classes. There we go, got it out of my mouth. Prerequisite classes they have to take, and others there you have to take a qualifying test to make sure that your English skills, you know, like psychology and sociology, there's a lot of reading and writing, and they want to make sure that your reading and writing is at a college level. So it's not so much we want to deny them the opportunities, we just want to make sure that they're ready for that next step. Okay, well, we'll say thank you to the 3 of them. Thank you and goodbye. And it's really true, you know, you want to know that your kid's going to be okay and happy and safe. All the same characters that were represented in your high school, they're still there today. You know, we've got all the categories. I don't know, I don't feel like high school is as cliquey as it was. You know, we hear, Abilene's a cliquey town and you can't break into this group or that. I just see a lot of kids that are in each other's space depending on the class, don't you think? I mean, we still have our groups, but if I were to ask the kids, like, who are the popular kids? We can all name the popular kids. You know, they were athletes, they were pretty, they had money. And I mean, I'm sure popular kids are still pretty, but I don't know. It just doesn't, it's a little more equal access, I think. Do you think that's true? Yeah. So anyway, it's a good place. We talked to the kids about how high school's a little different. Instead of 5th grade, check, move on. 6th grade, oh, check, move on. 7th grade, didn't do that great in English, but check, move on. High school is almost like a box, and they've got all these requirements to take care of in this box. 26.5 credits. So some of those things you can't move on until you have them dumped into the box, like English, you got to pass all those years. But you do things out of order. It's not necessarily everybody does everything the same way. You just got to get everything in this box before you leave. The other thing that's different is your grade point average builds from your 9th grade year until you're done. So that grade point average from your freshman year averages into your sophomore year, your junior year, to your senior year. So it might sound like a lot to be talking to kids about the end, you know, and graduating, but what they do next year really affects them. And if your kids are taking algebra now in 8th grade, that grade goes on to their permanent transcript. So it all is cumulative.
Say redo it, unless they take it again. So not on the transcript at all? Right. If they take it again their freshman year, then it doesn't have to follow them over.
Okay. So I guess if you don't like your algebra grade, talk to your counselor. We talk to the kids about if they fail a class, they have to take it over. If they do it through what we call credit recovery, there's a price tag. It's $100 per class to take that. So boy, we just encourage them to pass it the first time. Or they can do summer school. So finally, the last thing we're going to do, like I say, your kids brought a brown book home. If you want to look at a copy tonight, or if you're just sure that they don't have it, I don't know. I don't care about trees as much as the kids do. Thank you, Dallas Manili, by the way. Yeah. Are you paying attention back there? You're getting a nod. Yeah. Green Living Man, 4th grade with Mr. Manili. Recycle. I'm okay if you want to take the book, but kids are better at recycling and being careful than I am. So you can have a book, and then, you know, we have 100 choices up there, but we narrowed down the electives that your kids can choose. It's only 1 page worth. So if that helps you kind of narrow the big picture down to what your kids can pick, you're welcome to take one of those worksheets. We're going to show an electives video that you are welcome to stay for. It's about 14 minutes long. It just highlights all of our different areas. Like you'll see some kids welding, you'll see some kids in the auto shop, in the kitchen. My computer died over the summer, so the last 2 years' videos died with it. But fortunately, a video from about 4 years ago is on YouTube. So Jordan Moody is not currently our student council president. But if you want to stay and watch that video that shows the different electives, the kids watched it earlier today. And if not, we'll actually take the paperwork back to the back. If you have questions, Mrs. Stutton and I will be back there. We're super glad to talk to you. If you have questions, just always email us.
And if your son or daughter was not at school today, Jenny Wilkins took their enrollment sheet and their book. So she has it for them tomorrow.
Okay, a couple things before we start the video. A couple things will be different next year. We have decided that we're not going to do quarter grades anymore. You've done quarter grades your whole life. The 9-week grade at the middle of each semester doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's just a snapshot of where a student is. It actually causes a little bit of headache on our end when we have to finalize those. So even though you will be able to see at any given time through PowerSchool what your students' grades are, we're not going to do first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter grades anymore. It's just going to be semester 1 and semester 2. And that also eliminates any confusion about, well, are the 2 grades averaged together or is it sequential? It's all just from point A to point B, from August to December, and then January to May. And so you can get that snapshot whenever you want, whether it's 9 weeks in, whether it's 12 weeks in, whatever. And the second thing is that in the discussion of concurrent grades, this is something that we're hopeful will happen in the state of Kansas. There's been a committee put together from various 2-year colleges throughout the state who are making a recommendation to the legislature. And that is to create tuition-free classes for every student to be able to earn dual credit college classes in English, so Comp 1 and maybe Comp 2, American history, psychology, speech, and I think those are the 5. College algebra. And so there's the potential that if you're a student, by the time they get to their junior or senior year, to take those classes will not cost you a dime. And so potentially, every student in here, regardless of whether they choose to go into a 4-year school or a 2-year school, will already have the equivalent of their first semester of college done, earned, and wouldn't cost you a dime to do it. So all those classes would take place here on campus. And that's in addition to the things that they can already take at Salina Area Technical College anyway that we provide the transportation for. And you saw that list up there. So keep your eyes on that. We're hopeful that that's going to happen. And if it does, it may happen fairly soon. What the colleges are hoping for is that it actually becomes law going into next year. That's the hopeful part. There's still votes that have to happen at the Kansas legislature for that to become a reality. So keep your eye on that. Those are the 2 things I wanted to add, so we're ready for the video now. Whenever it says class of 2019, just think in your head 2022. And the information is still all really good. It's completely, you're not going to see hardly any adults in this. This is all from the kids' perspective, so it's a pretty neat video.
I'd like to say, if you've seen this and you're good and you just want to come on back and get your stuff, that's just fine too.
Figuring out who you are and what you're good at, your strengths and where your weaknesses are. And I encourage any incoming freshman, just get involved in whatever they feel any desire to and figure out if that's something that you want to pursue.
I've taken drawing, painting, and graphic design all 4 years. Being able to design t-shirts and murals and making my own, expressing my own art. Art is the best elective.
I'm Gail Young and I'm a senior. It gives you a lot of really great opportunities that you wouldn't get in any other elective or club you're involved in. You have your different seasons, like marching band, pep band, and each season is going to be different. It's going to give you different opportunities and different ways to enjoy yourself, so you get a little bit of everything so that you always have something you'll enjoy.
I'm Maddox, I'm a junior. We got singers, there's an audition choir that you gotta make, but there's also a choir you don't make that. It's pretty fun. Smiley she's really good at helping you with music, and it's a fun class to be in. Everybody enjoys what they're doing because of her.
I'm Sarah Medlock, I'm a senior, and my favorite elective is choir.
Okay, I'm Shannon Richter, and I'm a senior. We're going to New York to sing at Carnegie Hall. What happens is a whole bunch of schools get accepted to sing, and then we all come together and sing, and it's a lot of fun.
And in the fall we do the high school musical, which is always a lot of fun. We just have a great family in our vocal department.
There's plenty of electives here at the high school that, plenty that will fit you on what you're into, like forensics, debate. There's lots of opportunities here at AHS.
Alright, Jim Henry, senior here at Abilene. Debate, basically the biggest thing with debate, if you're going to take it for public speaking, take it to get outside the box and just get out there. It really helps making friends. It'll help you become less shy. Being a sophomore, I was the shyest kid you know, but now I'm active in any kind of group you can imagine, and debate's what got me there. So it's very highly suggest debate and forensics just to get yourself out there and get a wider range of friends.
I shall never see you again, shall I?
And yet, I'll always be with you.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Swartz, freshman, Rebecca Swartz, sophomore. Well, obviously I really enjoyed forensics, and I really like art and like piano and music classes.
Alec Hoover, sophomore. I really liked forensics. I liked band, jazz band, singers. I just really liked the arts and music classes.
I'm Hannah Colburn, and I'm a sophomore freshman.
And say, oh, I take Spanish, and you have to take a foreign language anyway. Or German, and those are both pretty fun. ¿Cuál es la fecha? La fecha es 21.
Umweltfreundlich.
Du bist Mädchenchef.
Mädchenchef, der Umweltfreund. Ja, warst du auch Umweltfreund?
I'm Garrett Geissinger, I'm a junior, and German's a good elective because it's not the language that everyone else speaks. And there's lots of cool competitions we go to around the state, you get to leave class, and it's really cool, and you learn a lot more about history and culture and stuff like that.
I'm in 11th grade. You learn the basics, what safety rules you need, then you go out to the shop and you learn how to use all the equipment, and then you build a project. Dalton, and I'm a senior. Welding, and fabrication, you get to build projects.
Drafting and chalk class, and girls can't take chalk class. It's okay.
I'm Noah Marlin, and I am 9th grade. I'm Carl Wiley, and I'm in 10th grade. Ag metals? Yeah, ag metals or wood shop. You weld in ag metals, different types of welding. And I made a boat in wood shop. So you learn all the safety stuff for the tools, and then you make your project.
Jaden mentioned I'm a junior. For our intro class, we made semis, like little toy semis. And then now we're making our own projects, just like tables and chairs and stuff. And Howard helps you build it. Like he gives you paints and tools and stuff.
Hunter Kaiser, junior. I really like working with my hands, so I like metals and I like the wood shop especially. I'm taking cabinet making one right now as a junior. Took CAD drafting as a sophomore. Ag structures and ag fabrications and Mr. Reynolds and Mrs. Western.
I'm Trent Jurgensen and I'm a sophomore. If you come in as a freshman, you can take the beginner class, which is mostly woodwork and learning about stuff that we do out in the shop. And your second, third, and fourth auto classes will be more work out in the shop and working on vehicles and things like that. If you're interested in a career path as a mechanic or anything of the sort, you should take auto because it'll get you started and give you opportunities.
Okay, my name is Isaiah Lopez, and I'm a junior at Abilene High School. Some of my favorite electives being throughout high school were culinary arts, weight training, and I guess you can say Spanish. Well, for my advice, take electives that will help you with your career path.
Mallory Unruh, I'm a senior. It's nutrition and wellness, culinary essentials, culinary arts, human growth and development, teacher intern. You come in the kitchen and a lot of cook, and with human growth and development, you bring in small children. Is that what they're called?
They are called small children,
okay. And you get to bring them in and play with them during class. You get to take home the computerized baby. Woo! And yeah, it's good.
I'm Keegan Gose, and I'm a senior at Abilene High School. My favorite electives have been animal science and horticulture. Right now we're in the greenhouse, which would be for horticulture class, and we'll grow a whole bunch of plants here later in the spring. Right now we only have a few because it's not necessarily in season, but back there is a pineapple plant which grows year-round in here, and so we do a lot of cool stuff with plants in the greenhouse.
I'm a sophomore. I pick animal science that I like, floriculture, agri-science. I like the hands-on that you can do with this.
In animal science, you'll learn the basic biology of animals, as well as a lot of the stuff that goes into the particular animal species that you're working with. And not just the sciencey, but also the agricultural part of it, how important they are for the economy, and learning about how to judge them for FFA as well.
I'm Jacoby Robinson, and I am a senior. We go interview people and get some good quotes from them. We get stats down for the sports page. Then we just go around town sometimes and see if there's any stories that need written. It's a nice laid-back class. It's fun. It's nice to write stories that people read around the school. Sometimes I think they're funny, sometimes not. But it's just fun being here at the school newspaper.
I'm Sam Ryan, I'm a junior. My favorite electives are by far band and yearbook, as well as jazz band. It's just such a fun environment. It's really laid back. And okay, so basically the yearbook is just in charge of putting together this year's memories for everyone, especially for the seniors. I'm managing editor this year, so I'm in charge of, just helping people get their pages done, helping them get their pictures. Basically what we do is we take pictures and we have a certain page, like the band page for instance. I would take pictures of the band and make a calendar of the events and then put it on a page, and then people can share their memories and have those memories forever.
I made it like a collage in the background of pictures that I faded out. Then I made my main point, the volleyball, which I filled with pictures by doing this weird thing where I had to shape them to the volleyball. And you get to do your own thing on it. And that's the best part, because you get to do your own thing.
I'm Shannon Young, and I'm in engagement, and I'm also a little person. We're in Cowboy Creations. We make the programs that have the basketball games and the football games and the vinyl decals. And we've made cookbooks and posters you see around town that have like schedules of every sport there is. Make cups and stuff.
You can bring out your creativity.
Me and Peyton just made this license plate, and we make many other things, like this cup for basketball, AHS, and other things like this. We love Cowboy Creations.
I think figuring out what you're good at is just as important as figuring out what you're bad at. I came in freshman year, I played tennis. It's not good at that.
Look at like prerequisites for classes you want to take when you're older, so you know what you need to take your freshman and sophomore year.
Like seriously, take into consideration like all of your high school years. Like your freshman year is your basis, leading all the way to the foundation of your senior year.
Just make sure to get involved in as many things as you possibly can, but don't go over the top and keep up on grades.
Take a variety of different electives to see what you like. And then if you find something you like, take more of those classes.
Kate, I'm not going to be here to protect you, so you guys better not make fun of my sister. I'll come back. I will come back from college.
Don't be afraid to try something different. I'm not an art person, but I think my sophomore year, I tried some art and it was actually a lot of fun. So go out for something new.
Just take something that you feel like you would like to do when you're older. Take something that will be something that you can learn from, something that will not just be filling class.
So make sure it's stuff that you're interested in, because along with your other classes, you have to focus on them. So
just go with your gut and choose something that you think you would enjoy. Yeah.
Welcome class of 2019. High school will be a great experience for you. It's just what you make of it. I just encourage everybody to get involved in as much as you possibly can and figure out, this is what I want to be. This is the person that I am, and these are the different events and organizations that help me make up who I am.
Class of 2022. Do you have any questions? All right. We look forward to seeing everybody next school year. Thanks, everybody.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks.